Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Big Jetty, and we're talking about the season finale of Maul Shadow Lord. Oh my god, I was right. I was right, man. Yeah. So, if you've been following my channel for a little bit, you know that I've been covering the Maul show here. But I did miss last week's episodes because I felt like they were just building to something. And this is what we were building for. These last two episodes were fantastic. So, in my opinion, there wasn't really too much to talk about in last Monday's episodes because, again, it was just building towards the finale. It was sort of just building up the characters. There was a couple things I thought were notable, worth talking about, but they were sort of just the characters were sort of just on the run, and sort of flirting with sort of all the characters' fates, if you will. So I felt like it didn't really require a video, and if I had to talk about anything in those episodes, I could talk about it here. But honestly, we have to talk about the finale because I have to yap about it. It's fantastic. So in the previous couple episodes, yeah, we got some story development. We got the connection to the Han Solo movie with Dryden Voss and Crimson Dawn, which I thought was kind of interesting. He's not really my favorite character, especially if you've seen Solo. Which, by the way, I don't know if this is reaching the right audience or not, but I actually like the Solo movie. I thought the Han Solo movie was good. I liked it. Wasn't perfect. There's a few weird things in it, but overall, I liked it. I thought it was good. Maybe you like it too. Let me know in the comments down below if you like that movie. I'm really curious to see where the Han Solo lovers are at. But sort of Maul and the rest of the gang do their best to escape the planet, and like a Jedi master myself, my prediction kind of came true. Uh, I mean, not kind of. It really did. We got a Darth Maul and Darth Vader showdown. I was right, and I'm sure a few other people who could have predicted this, that Darth Vader makes an appearance in this show, in this episode, and we finally got the long-awaited, fan-theorized, fan-wanted, fan I guess that is the definition of fan service. The Darth Maul versus Darth Vader fight. Actual Darth Maul versus actual Darth Vader. Not a hologram, not a simulation. Actual the two of them fighting. And yeah, that was pretty good because Darth Vader was aura farming. He was putting belt to ass as he should be. He is one of the greatest to ever do it. Maul's good, but he's not Vader. I just loved the last episode. I thought it was fantastic. There was so much happening left and right. Characters' fates are being decided. In particular, I actually can't remember her name. The second in command of Maul, that Mandalorian girl. What happens to her is just so horror movie coded, and I think that's maybe perhaps an illusion, or perhaps sort of getting in touch the fact that Star Wars does kind of share elements of horror in the movies. And you wouldn't exactly think that because it's Star Wars, because it's Disney, but it does share some iconography and some themes with classic horror. So it was cool to see her or hear her getting choked out by Vader in the mist, and then he sort of just walks through in the fog, which is like, oh no! And I really enjoy these sort of like first encounters with Vader, where like people it's the way they feel him through the force. It's like, yo, what is that? What is that? And Maul says it. He's like, you're not an Inquisitor. Like, what are you, bro? While he's trying to stay alive and fighting him. And it's true. He is not an Inquisitor. He is the Dark Lord of the Sith, and he is clearly more powerful than Maul, Devin, and Devin's Master combined. It is a great fight. Now, I say that because I, as a Star Wars fan, have been kind of frustrated with how prequel characters get treated, or how Vader gets treated, and sort of some of the other projects, and sort of like power levels get determined, or like just I don't know, some things like play out really weird. Like for example, in the Star Wars Jedi Survivor series, or I think it's Jedi Survivor or Fallen Order, whatever the second game is. The character Seer, that Jedi that sort of mentors Cal Kestis a little bit. There's a scene where, or I guess part of the game, where you have to have a boss fight against Darth Vader, and she bodies him a little bit, and I just don't agree with that. I'm sorry, you're not him. Like, you're not her. I'm sorry, my lady. It's not. That's not happening. There's no way some random Jedi like her could body Vader like that. So, Here in the Maul show, Darth Maul giving Darth Vader some resistance makes sense, absolutely, and with the help of another Jedi Master and his apprentice, that makes sense. But Vader is still contained. Vader's not struggling here. There's resistance. He's fighting them off, but he's not getting bodied. And that fight with Seer, he gets bodied, and I just think that's ridiculous. Yeah, he ultimately wins, but that's my problem with having Vader appear in these other shows and other projects is that he not only is he canonically and lore wise one of the most powerful characters in this universe, but he also literally cannot die. Nothing can happen to him. One, he's in the original movies, so it wouldn't make any sense if he were to die in any of his previous stuff. Although the way Star Wars treats death these days is kind of like whatever. But also, like, he has nothing else to lose. Like, he's basically just half a dude in a suit. If you chop off an arm, it doesn't really mean anything. You already got robot arms, robot legs, and we all know Star Wars loves to remove limbs. So, for me, it kind of feels cheap to have him in certain shows. However, here, Darth Vader earned his ticket. He earned his place back. He is the Dark Lord of the Sith. He's back, and it was. I just thought it was a really good fight, and how I think Devin's starting to realize that there are bigger threats than these Inquisitors. Oh my God, Maul might be right. His ideology is very flawed, but there actually might be a lot of truth to it. And I gotta say, I really like Devin. I think she's a great character. I'm really excited to see where she goes. She's probably why I'm most excited for season 2. And the fact that she does have a lot of references, or perhaps she's kind of just a big allusion to Darth Talon from the comics and the expanded universe, or perhaps that's where she's going to end up, which I think is fantastic. There's a connection to like George Lucas and how like Darth Maul and Darth Talon were supposed to be like the new enemies in his original sequel trilogy, or at least a big part of it. So I really like that, but I really like her character. I really like that she's a young Jedi in arguably the worst time to ever exist for the Jedi, and she's trying to find her place in the world. And she's definitely young. She's probably what, maybe 14, 15, maybe 16. I don't know, somewhere around there. Young, impressionable, but also very talented. She's very powerful. And she wants to do something about the state of the galaxy. She wants to do something. And I think, sometimes overestimates her own abilities. I mean, she clearly wants to go after Vader there after what happened to her master, which is unfortunate. Rest in peace to the Allstate guy. What lesson is she going to learn? Is she going to learn that to fight evil and darkness, we have to be evil and darkness? Like, is that the lesson she's going to learn? That might work for a certain amount of time, but like eventually you will succumb to the dark side. Like it just depends how it goes. And what I really like about it too is that it's not necessarily just the Sith repeating the cycle of 2, because the cycle of 2 is now fully in the hands of Palpatine and Vader. Like, that's it. Like, there will be no more Sith. Emperor Palpatine is the culmination of the Sith. Darth Vader is my right-hand man, and we will rule the galaxy for eternity. And we all know the secret projects that he's working on to make sure it is an eternity. A dark side, a former Sith apprentice like Darth Maul teaching a Jedi apprentice like Devin, there's some interesting ideas there where they're not doing it for an order. They're not doing it for a bigger picture. They're doing it for selfish revenge, and perhaps they will use this dark side energy, this hatred, this anger, to maybe benefit the galaxy. I don't think Devin is fully on board with just being evil because it's Disney and she's evil. I think she actually, I think she wants to do something about the Empire, and Darth Maul is going to give her the tools. She's finally accepted that he's going to give her the tools to do so. But overall, I really, really enjoyed Devin's character. I think she's fantastic, and I think it's the show overall is, I think, a good example of sort of telling a broader story of the Star Wars galaxy between episodes 3 and 4. And yes, I know almost all of the extra Star Wars content we got or have gotten in the past has been between episodes 3 and 4, because I mean, that is kind of the most tumultuous time for these people in this world, right? So it makes sense. But this, I like it. I think it tells a more broader story. Yeah, it focuses on like a classic character like Darth Maul, But I think Devon's a really interesting character, and sort of how she's coming to play with Maul's ideology of that, the galaxy is not so black and white. It really isn't. And that's I think a lot of Star Wars fans know that. I think when people hear about Star Wars, they hear about the dark side or the light side. People think it's binary. They think it's dark or light. But if you're a fan of Star Wars, you're a fan of the video games, the shows, the movie, like everything, you know that that's not necessarily true. That's not the whole truth. The force is a mysterious thing. So to see her playing with that ideology, or at least struggling with it, I think it's very interesting because Maul's an interesting character. It's a very interesting time to be a force user in that world, and to see these characters mingle. So I thought that was very, very cool. And for the most part, I really liked the rest of the characters too. I thought the cast did a great job voice acting. I think everything's solid there. But I really liked Detective Lawson. I really liked him, and sort of how the first couple episodes were doing this sort of noir detective thing a little bit, kind of close to that, or maybe as close as Star Wars is willing to get to that. I really enjoyed his character. I don't think this is the end for him. They sort of flirted with that a little bit, like, oh, this might be the end for him, because we sort of saw it, and we saw like 4 characters die off screen in this episode, which was kind of crazy. One I know for sure is not coming back. One I know is coming back for sure because we see them in Ahsoka. Not going to say who. But Lawson sort of sacrifices himself in the end for his son to escape, which felt kind of good because he's sort of been a little bit of a deadbeat dad, a little bit. He's sort of been dedicated to his work, and now his son is in the work with him, and we're being shot at. Oops, how did that happen? Oops, too much work. But he he's trying to sort of apologize for that, sort of make amends for that, and yeah, he kind of does. However, I am almost positive, and this is my prediction for season 2, that when season 2 opens, in the first, might even be the first opening scene, I don't know, but when season 2 opens, we're going to see Lawson in custody with the ex-wife, because we saw the ex-wife. She's working for the Empire. She's some sort of officer, and she's probably going to get involved because whatever, family drama. I mean, come on, Star Wars, am I right? But I don't think he's gone. I really enjoy his character. I would like to see more of their family dynamic, and what's going to happen to Riley, their son. What's going to happen to him? He just lost his father, which it really did look like that. And he's sort of just alone with a very cute Jedi apprentice and a former Sith Lord, and a droid. Like, so what's gonna happen to him? Is he gonna try and take up the mantle of the Force as well? Maybe. I don't know. That's so I'm actually very excited for season 2. I really like where the show went. One of the biggest critiques I could give for this show is that we didn't get longer, where 10 episodes is not enough. This is good Star Wars content. I need more. We need more. Now, again, that's not to say the show is perfect. There were a couple things I didn't like, for example, in the beginning, the first couple episodes, Lawson is investigating this mysterious criminal, this mysterious new crime boss, or someone who's really stirring up trouble in the underground community, in the crime community, and he doesn't want to call it the Empire. And it's like, oh my god, again? Like, we saw that in Andor. And Andor, I feel like it kind of made less sense in Andor. But here again, it's like, man, we're going to use that again. Like, I don't want to call the Empire. I want to get them involved. Where basically we know the Empire is an evil, totalitarian dictatorship, empire. And they're probably going to come down and give curfews and all the awful things that you've ever seen a dictator send their army to do. Once the stormtroopers get there, then it's going to get bad for the people living there. Okay, fine. But, what is his extent and knowledge of that? You know what I mean? Like, how does he know exactly what's going to happen if the Empire shows up? Has he heard the other stories from other planets? He knows all the atrocities of the Empire, or only knows a little bit of it? Like, it just feels like, okay, we're not going to call the Empire for plot's sake. But with the ex-wife being a part of the Empire, that makes a little more sense. So I felt a little bit better about that. Even though it's only been done a couple of times, I just felt a little tired of, like, oh, we're not going to call the Empire. We're going to deal with this on our own. It's like, no, you need to call them, because of all the times to call them, now is the time to call them. I also have to critique the show for kind of existing. Now, again, I think the show was great, and it did mostly change my mind about where the show was going and what it actually was going to be. And I am impressed. My expectations have been exceeded. So, good job, guys. Thank you. But Maul is one of those characters that might succumb to most of the Star Wars cliches of characters not dying, characters coming back. Is there a reason for them to come back and exist? Maul is literally all of that, and the problem is there's a bunch of characters like that in Star Wars, but he's the poster boy for it. And does this show sort of vindicate itself? You know what I mean? Like does it earn it? And I do think it does. However, that's still in the back of my mind because season 1 here was great. Can they follow up with a great season 2? I'm excited to see what happens to Devin, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to Maul, what he gets up to. How does he build his criminal empire? Does he leave her the criminal empire? With Kira also from the Han Solo, like what? Like that's kind of cool. That's what he's going to leave into the galaxy. He's going to leave a dark Jedi in charge of a crime syndicate. Kind of a cool idea. That's kind of where my predictions go. But it's just it goes back to my main issues with Star Wars and that the consistency is everywhere. This project was really good, even though it's a little bit like, yeah, I know how a story ends. And I think his ending in Rebels was fantastic. I love that final duel. I love the last couple lines of dialogue that he has with Obi-Wan. I think that's fantastic and is very true to what the main goal of it's just such a hard truth. I felt like. And I also feel like Maul is a completely different character in Rebels than he is here. And that's a good thing. That means he's had a little bit of an arc, he's had a little bit of change. But I think that change is bad because here he's more focused on Sidious or more focused perhaps on building the empire, or sorry, building his criminal empire. But in Rebels, he's more fanatical, he's more possessive, he's more back to how like he was in the beginning of, if you guys remember back when they found him in the Clone Wars in that tunnel when he was that had the spider legs or whatever. Sort of that really evil possessive Maul. He goes back to that, but perhaps an older version with the cane and a little more mysterious. So but how he gets from there to there, that's where I'm having trouble making the connection. Hopefully the show makes that connection, and hopefully it's a better connection. But I don't know. I'm skeptical. Because if you boil it down, that's essentially the problem that I and a lot of other fans had with Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy. I don't have all the time in the world to tell you all of the problems with Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy. People have been complaining about it since those movies came out almost 10 years ago now, which is kind of insane. But my thing in talking to people who agree with me and talking to people who disagree with me, how did he get to that point? That's my whole thing, is how did he get there? If the last time we saw Luke Skywalker canonically was Return of the Jedi, and the next time we see him, he's an angry old hermit who wants nothing to do with the Force and whatever the hell that is in the sequel trilogy. I need 3 movies, a cigarette, and a book to figure out what happened in between. Like there's so much missing. You can't just jump over. That's not an arc. That's just that's a start and an end. I need the middle. We're missing the story. So for me here again, I have the start, I have the end. Question is, do I want the middle though? For Maul. With this show, I'm gonna say yes. With this show, I'm gonna say yes. It was really solid. I really enjoyed it. It's great, but I am skeptical. This is Star Wars we're talking about after all. It's Disney. So I hope I'm wrong. I was wrong about season 1 here. Prove me wrong again in season 2. If I had to give a full rating for Maul Shadow Lord from episode 1 to episode 10, the full season, I would give this 8 out of 10 on the dot. This is good Star Wars content. It's certainly not perfect because it is a prequel show and it has some things to do with other Star Wars projects, and I don't know if I like that. But I really enjoy the new characters. I really enjoy what they're doing with Maul. The animation is fantastic. It's gotten so much better over the years, and I am excited to see more. Skeptical, but excited to see more. 8 out of 10. Let me know if you guys agree. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far in the video. Leave a comment down below, leave a like, share with your friends, and of course, may the 4th be with you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will see you soon. Bye, guys. Bye.